What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Something in the Water podcast with your host, Cracka,
Desko Martin.
and yeah, tuned in.
Yeah, it's been a journey. These
Been a journey.
episodes, yeah.
First, let's talk about your mindset on being humbled.
Yeah. So I was just telling Crack, sometimes I feel like in life, when stuff is going really good, you have to still be patient and appreciate the things you have. And you could also feel like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the shit. But I feel like you have to be careful because there's like this fine line in life where it's like, if you go overboard, something can happen, you can easily be humbled in a way where it's like, damn, I feel defeated. So I feel like if you live this thin line of appreciation for life and appreciation for the things you have and being able to progress at the same time, that's where I want to live at.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Were you on a roll? Basically, his laptop is out of commission right now.
Yep.
And prior to it happening, were you feeling like...
Yeah, I literally just came from a conversation I had on the phone of getting like a $22,000 check.
Hey.
Yeah, so from being there at the end of September, from being on the phone call to having to go to a meeting to breaking my laptop, I was humbled. Because when I got off the phone, I felt like I was the man.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's catch up too. So kind of what's been new. Also, for the first time, we haven't filmed in 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, life happens.
Yeah.
Because I think what most people would have happen is they skip a week, and then they're like, "Dang, man, I already skipped a week.
Yeah.
No, I'll skip a couple weeks," and then they just stop.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we both talked, a handful of times over the last 2 weeks about, and we got to find a way to make it easier, make it more convenient, or make the process smoother, faster, so that way we can keep doing this thing. And here we are today.
Yeah, I think it eats us both alive too, because I feel like I'm in this mood where I'm always trying to get stuff done. And this is like something extra that I want to do.
Yeah.
But then it's like we have all this other stuff. Then it's like, I forgot. Or like, no, oh, damn, we still got to do this.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're always beating ourselves up about it too.
It's a good character trait though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think a lot of people that are like quitters don't have that trait. So then they're like, they don't feel that guilt of like skipping a week, where me and you are like, hey, I just want to let you know that this is important
care about
to
this.
me. It's just I was out of town, and then this kid's like, yeah, I get it. We'll have to catch up and stuff. But yeah, so right now you have
Hispanic Heritage Festival. Yeah.
Okay.
It is the weekend of the 24th. Yep.
So it's like 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks. It's a big event. It's happening in downtown Lansing. A good section of the block of Washington Square is going to be blocked off. We're going to have performances. We're going to have about 30 to 50 vendors. And we're going to have also a art gallery at the Nelson Gallery downtown. And then we're also going to have a Hispanic jazz night where they're going to teach you some dance lessons at the Lansing Shuffle.
Okay.
Yep.
How's everything going with our space?
It's going pretty good. Just working. I think one thing about us is our branding is really good. I feel like our execution is good and our branding is good. And I feel like a lot of people, when that happens, I feel like sometimes people think that you're further along than you actually are.
Yeah.
So like we look really good, but we're kind of just starting out still.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So we're still learning. We're still trying to figure things out.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Like I remember a episode ago or we were talking about branding and perception and stuff like that. So that's you have that on your side.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. What's a recent lesson or something that you've learned with our space? And do you feel like doing this current event, you guys have maybe fine-tuned the process for prepping for a big event?
Yeah, I think my homie Mikey, he's the founder of Our Space. He by himself, before Our Space was even a thing, did a Juneteenth festival every year. So I feel like with these big events, he kind of already has a specific like outline of how these events go. Mm-hmm. And I feel like us coming all together, we kind of just maximize that. Now it becomes like a template. So it's kind of like, okay, there's going to be 3 days. This is going to be here. And then basically it's all about locations. And then we have everything already set up down to like a vendors list, the informational booth list, all type of people who want to sign up. And I think one thing that I've learned dealing with a bunch of different people while trying to build a company is even if you don't have necessarily the degree of being like a marketing specialist or just anything, I feel like the basics that you need to know is how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And having open communication and being aware that you're not always going to be right. And also being aware that sometimes you need direction. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think all of us in the group do that. You know, me and Mikey speak all the time, and he's asking me what I think, and I'm always asking him what he thinks. And it's kind of like, it's like everyone has to be a leader, but at the same time, they also have to be like the person who looks for or looks to be led at the same time.
I think that should be the topic of this episode.
Leadership.
Kind of team.
Yeah.
Team, unity, bringing people together, roles, positions, and then also like systems. Mm-hmm. Like how you're saying that, I mean, what number of event is this in the list that you guys have done? Like you've done at least how many?
Yeah, this would be our third biggest event.
Okay.
But this would be essentially, let's see, 6 months, 6. This would be our like 10th, 11th event.
Right. So like the first time you did it, it was a lot of learning. Then the second time you learned and, fix some of those problems. Then the third time, now this is like number 10, 11.
Yeah.
You guys have kind of figured out a much better system and a process of doing it. And eventually once you're at 20, 30, it's going to be even easier where you're like, all right, another event coming up. We got to make sure, we know this. We got to hit out this. We have our checklist of things to do. And that's the reason why I want to talk about it is because in my life, that's what a lot of the stuff is right now, is me fine-tuning that type of like a system or even like with this podcast. It's like that's something that's been on my mind the last few weeks is, bro, I want to figure out this system to make this process even easier. And then even with like offering the podcast service to other people in this building, okay, what is our current problem? We have a podcast and then stacking up all these episodes, but then we need to get them edited and uploaded. We also need clips made and posted on social media. Okay, so how could I solve my problem and solve other people's problem at the same time? Now we have a business here.
Yeah.
And so that's the stuff that I've been obsessed with is like, how can I make it easier and faster and more convenient? And figuring out that with all the business stuff. And then how you're talking about the team and being a leader and each person having a role and a position.
Yeah.
So I just recently partnered with Kadar, is what he goes by. I've done videos for him.
I've been seeing him.
Yep. So Kadar and Malik with the production studio. And what I realized is, so a lot of people, like, you could be doing this podcast solo.
Yeah.
You could. I could be doing this podcast solo. However, doing it together, we can get farther, faster because now there's two of us. And, it's like, hey, you take on this part of it. Oh, sweet. That's going to take some shit off my plate. Well, I'll take on this. And each person having a role and a position and stuff. So I've been stressing because where we're currently at right now in the Cracka studios, the recording studio has been open for about a month and a half or so. Almost 2 months. Almost, I think 6 weeks now. Well, next month, then the rent goes up. And the rent goes up based on, hey man, the first 90 days, we're going to do this. And then after 90 days, that gives you time to get up and going and get some money flowing or whatever. And then I need you to start paying for the whole place, like the production studio side of things. And I've been stressing because I really haven't fully got the recording studio where I want it to be.
Yeah.
And then I haven't even basically touched the production studio for a month, 6 weeks. And so that's been on the back of my mind. And then I just was having a conversation with Kadar and Malik. And then it led to, you would be great at helping with this thing that like with the whole content strategy and marketing and stuff. So like with Malik, that's what his kind of role is, like CMO, in charge of all the marketing, which would be social media, making ads for it, promoting it, different types of things like that, like the whole social media side of things. Well, then I learned that I'm a great CEO, but I'm a really bad COO, like the operations guy, the guy that's like the day-to-day. And so yeah, just roles in different positions. And it makes sense in sports where you got a guy that's like, say he's a power forward in basketball and he's really strong and good at getting rebounds and blocking shots and playing defense and stuff. But he's not good at dribbling. He's not fast and good at shooting 3-pointers, but it's like he doesn't need to be because there's a different person on his team and that's their position. So he focuses on like that stuff. So basically, if you put each person in their zone of genius, then they can excel and then they enjoy doing what they do. So yeah, the production studio, I'm gonna have 2 partners with that. And next month I'm also leasing the building next to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like right now my balls are up here. It's a big risk.
Yeah.
But
you're building out your team.
Building out the team, yeah. And so just because like even with the studio, I know that we used to have maybe a monthly meeting at one point when the most people I had working in the studio with me was 5 guys. And it was about a year and a half ago or so. But we'd have these monthly meetings. And what I found was whatever we talked about that meeting, like I knew what needed to be done. It'd be like, yo, we need to get the online mixing going so that way we're not limited to just local people. We need to add more services that we can offer, like custom beats or like packages, how I was doing the Crack Pack, where I'd make a beat and record a song and do this, this, and this with all them. It's like, we need to get these on the website. We need to do more content where we get together and everyone's making content. And then we also need this. So I would say everything that needs to be done, but I wasn't like handing it off to someone like, boom, here's what you do. I would say everything that needs to be done. And then we'd end the meeting and I'd go back to like be busy doing all the other stuff I'm doing. We'd have a meeting a month later, nothing got done. And then it'd be like, we're right here again. We still need this. We still need this. And it happened every single month. And I was like, at this point, there's no point in even having a meeting because I already know what needs to be done. So also, if you're just paying people like hourly, they don't have skin in the game. And so that's where I realized I want people to have skin in the game. So like with our space, I believe you have skin in the game, right? It's not just like he's, cashing you out to do this or do that. It's like, no, we're building it.
Yeah.
And then since you're building it and you're a part of it, you give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's hard to make people really give a fuck about what you're doing if they don't have skin in the game. They don't have a percentage.
And that's what I was going to explain to you too, is like being in our space, I feel like I've watched a lot of people fall off as well. Just kind of like, well, this isn't, my thing, or, just you see who cares at the end, if that makes sense. So giving people skin in the game, you'll see who actually cares at the end.
Yep. Yeah, man. So team, that made me think of, I was in LA one time and a friend of mine, Mario, and he has a studio space and he's got like kind of how Malik is with me behind the scenes. He's kind of like my right hand. Most of the time when I'm doing something, he's there helping me do the thing or helping me look good with behind the scenes and stuff. And so Mario, he's got a guy named John that does all that. And then Mario is kind of giving John a hard time, like, bro, John, like, you're supposed to basically be Mario. He was saying, man, this is supposed to inspire you and make you want to get your own place and make you want to start shooting and doing this. But then John was cool playing his role, being John. And so what I said to him was kind of like the sports analogy. If everyone's trying to be the quarterback, shit don't function. Like, the quarterback needs the running back, needs the wide receiver, needs the line. Like each person has a position and not everyone's meant to be the quarterback. Like just because you want to be the quarterback doesn't mean that I want to be the quarterback and you want to be the quarterback. Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately too, because I think it's just, you have to find out what everybody wants to do and then learn how it coincides with what you want to do.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. So like, you know, Mikey, he's the founder of our space. He wanted to throw these events. He wants to activate spaces and invite people that don't have certain events for them specifically. So like a Juneteenth or like a Hispanic Heritage. And I feel like that's what he wants to do. You know, that's our space. So I can come in, obviously, you know, he's my good friend. So I can come in and help him any way that I can. But then it also helps me because then I always wanted to start my own marketing company and do stuff like that, work with these big companies. So in a sense, I'm helping him, but then he's also helping me by giving me the platform.
Yep. Yesterday I was doing a music video for an artist and we got talking about he wants to get on shows and stuff. Yeah. And then I was talking to him about right now I'm trying to solve this show problem with the artists that I manage. And I'm trying to get the artists that I manage to do more music. And then that was the conversation though, is the best situations are how can I help you help me? And then like everyone wins.
It's like
you know? So yeah. We want to go from there.
What about, let's talk about, okay, so what are you going to do with the space next door?
So
do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's cool just to document it anyways, you know, like obviously the goal with this is we're just sharing our thoughts and updates and shit that we're learning and new things. So I hope that, you know, 2-3 years from now, this studio is known as this thing, right? Yeah. And then like I can always go back to this episode of me talking about my plans for it, and then like you can see it come in play. So the landlord had reached out to me saying that there's a lady that's next to me. I guess she's been here for 2 or 3 years. And kind of long story short, she reached out to him saying, my business is going under. I know I still have about 2 years left on my lease, but it is what it is. Like, you're gonna have to sue me or whatever you gotta do. I'm just letting you know I'm shutting down. We gotta talk about this. So he reached out to me first and said, hey, that's available. Kind of if I took over the lease, then she doesn't get sued and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then also he presented it as of right now, the air don't work here. So he was saying over next door, the air works, the heat, everything, and it's a little smaller. So he was saying like if I was trying to save money, it would be cheaper or whatever if I wanted to move there. And I was like, well, no, it's not like, do I want this place or that place? I think it's, do I want this place and that place? Let me check it out. And so I checked it out, and you kind of walk in, there's a lobby area, and then there's a long hallway that goes all the way back. So there's a front room, a middle room, and then a third room, and then a bathroom, and then you're at the back of the building. That's kind of how it's laid out. So with here, I got so excited on how can I have a fitting room here, a podcast studio space. I want to have all these different sets. I want to do all this stuff, and I don't have enough space to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then so out there to build all these individual walls, then it ruins like the set that you originally wanted to use was out there wide open, pull a car in.
Yeah.
Well, with what I was talking about out there is building all these walls, you wouldn't be able to do that anymore. And I think that would be valuable, a wide open room. Just leaving it exactly the way it is. But then I'm like, damn, where am I going to build all these rooms and these sets and stuff? Yeah. So when I checked it out, I'm like, this is perfect because there's already 3 rooms. They're not huge by any means. They're maybe like half the size of this, if that.
But they're already built.
And then I thought, even if you need to do like some sort of mini wall divider in the middle of these rooms to turn them into like 2 smaller sets, we could do that also. And then I definitely wanted to do this podcast room to where, you know, how we're doing this episode is more so we either meet up at his spot or we meet up here, and we're just setting up the tripod every single time when we're doing these wireless mics. But eventually you guys are going to see us actually have like the Shure SM7Bs in to set up the mics and to have the multiple cameras and stuff like that, and to set that up every single time would be super inconvenient.
Yeah.
So I've known that I want to have a space where there's 3 tripods that are always there.
Yeah.
They're like purchased specifically for that room. They never come out of that room. So it wouldn't be my personal tripod that I take with me to videos and stuff.
Be already set up.
Leave them there forever.
Furniture.
Yep. The furniture that's there, the light setup, the mics, like have everything in one place. So with the back room next door, that would be perfect for us. Like that's gonna be the podcast room. I think the second room, we're gonna do a divider in the middle and turn that into 2 sets. And in the front room, we're gonna turn into more of like a trap house, crack house look.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, and the rent wasn't that crazy, you know? So kind of if you combine the rent for here and the rent for there, that was my original budget that I was looking for places that were like—
Now you have 2.
Yeah, and the places that I was looking at is like 2,000 to 3,000 square foot. And then this place alone is 2,400, and I think it's 1,800 there. So that puts me at like 4,200 square foot. And it's still within the budget that I was originally looking at spots. Yeah. So it's a big, like the lady, when I linked up with her, it was on the 31st. And so like the next day was the 1st. And then so on the 1st, that's when she knew her rent was due. And so she showed me the place, and it just, basically, the landlord called me, told me about the opportunity. I asked if I could check it out. He was like, you can check it out right now. I go look at it. So I didn't even have this idea prior to this moment. So he calls me, I go look at the place. Then she shows up and she's like, yeah, do you want it? I can have all my stuff out right now. And I was just letting her know, like, I'm not prepared for paying rent tomorrow for this place. Like, this just landed in my lap right now. I'll take over in a month. So you'll still be responsible for tomorrow. But yeah, so to do all this and be by myself, I just realized that I could have my own production studio. I don't have an ego. So, because my ego could be like, no, it's mine. Mm-hmm. And so I've changed that mindset to, it's ours. How can I bring people together to where they win if I win and we all work together? So you've seen the analogy before where they're like, let's say I'm holding a small napkin that's like 4 inches by 4 inches, and they say, would you rather have 100% of this, or then they have a huge 10 foot by 10 foot thing, and they're like, or have 20% of this, or 25%, or 10%, or 30%. Like, of course, I'd rather have a percentage of that, the big thing. And so that's how I see this with the production studio. It's kind of like, at the rate I'm going, bro, I hadn't even touched the production studio in 6 weeks. So at the rate I'm going, I don't see it working out. I have to have.
But that's the humbling part.
Yeah.
You know, because then you realize, like, man, I do everything by myself. I'm the shit. And then you look around and you're like, I haven't got anything I wanted to get done. I need some help.
Yep. I think I do the same thing now with videos, where not exactly today, but in the very near future, if someone were to hand me a specific budget for a video, I already remove, okay, I have to have behind the scenes, so that's this much. Boom, that comes out. And then where I'm at now too is, even with the editing of the music video, I would love to be the one, like, they book me, so I'm the director. And it's hard to do now with budgets like being so small.
Because there's a director of photography, all that stuff.
Yeah. Because I've done it a few times where I did just kind of direct, and I had paid someone else to DP.
Yeah.
So I was kind of telling them, like, all right, let's get a wide gimbal shot, do this, this, and this. And then he thought it was cool too, because like he left and he's done. Mm-hmm. Where he was used to being hired and he's got to direct it, plan the video, shoot the video, edit the video. And instead I was kind of paying him what he was getting to do all of that just to show up and shoot. And he got to learn from me and stuff, and like be there and work with different people. So I think that's my ultimate goal for anything that I offer now, is subtracting paying the team to do it. So even I'm gonna start doing these like crack packs again at the studio where I'm producing songs, and I talked to you about wanting to do one, but it's like the content priority is there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make sure, like, even if I'm gonna do my time for free,
everybody else gets paid.
Yeah. Like, my content guy has to get paid.
Yeah.
So here's what I pay him, and then this person's gonna edit it, and they charge this much. So no matter what, even if I'm free, it's this much.
Yeah.
So that way we get the content. Yeah. And you're not giving me $1 for my time, and so I'm excited about doing that. Just involving more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel? What we good on time?
Yeah.
All right. How do we feel about picking the right people, if that makes sense? Because have you ever picked the wrong person to be a part of your team, and later on you felt like, man, like I felt like I should have read that better, or something?
That's a really good question. I think where I made mistakes in the past, it was and so I try to, obviously, like, you learn from your mistakes. You don't make the same mistake twice. So with my best friend, we had a clothing line, World Legacy Clothing. And so it wasn't the wrong person. It was wrong, bad communication, bad assumptions and stuff. So a lesson would be, whenever you're going to start a business with other people or partner, in the beginning, be as clear as possible on who was responsible for what. So when we first started the clothing line together, and it was just like, hey, 50%, we're partners, sweet. Like, I was doing a bunch of the social media, he was doing a bunch of the social media. If we got an order, it was kind of like, are you shipping this one or am I shipping this one? So it was a lot of like, I was doing everything and he was doing everything. So it wasn't smart, but that was, we just didn't know better.
Yeah.
So then when we took like a 2 to 3 year break from it, and then we wanted to relaunch it again, before we relaunched it, it was like, all right, let's learn from our mistakes in the past. And I read a book called E-Myth, like the letter E and then MYTH. And it was talking about, anytime you start a business, you need to picture the business in its complete form. So an analogy would be, if right now me and you wanted to build like a Lego thing, we look at the box and we can see what it's supposed to look like when it's done. And so now we start putting the pieces together, kind of reverse engineering what it's supposed to, the finished product is, and now we're building it. Yeah. So that's what I learned, and what me and him did was, okay, let's picture the clothing line actually like being a,
big successful brand.
Whether it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, what different roles and team members do we have? And I was like, okay, we're definitely going to have finance department. Okay, what are they responsible for? Like, tracking all the expenses and income, paying taxes, this, that, and other, bank, all that stuff. It was like, all right, sweet. So we drew that out. And then it was a company org chart. Like when you see those company charts, and at the very top, it might be like founder. Then you have like CMO, CEO, CFO. And then under that, it's like, okay, you have a social media manager, a video editor, a graphic designer, all under that area. So we draw out everything. And what you'll do is, in the beginning stages, even if it's just like a solopreneur person, your name is going to be next to every single position. But then what you do is, as you start growing, you're like, okay, what one of these things causes me the biggest headache? And that's kind of usually the first thing that you try to hire and put someone in those roles. Yeah. So even with the production studio, they know that I still have to write out that kind of like, we have a general idea of kind of, I'm the head coach with the business. So I'm the oldest one. I'm the one that's been an entrepreneur for so many years. So it's like, I have the wisdom and the insight and the direction on how to do the things, and they're younger and they haven't had that much business experience. So it's kind of like, hey, he's kind of calling the plays. And then with the COO, he's executing the plays. So he's kind of, not that I don't know, but what should I be doing right now for the company? It's like, okay, yeah, we need this, 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 and this. It's like, got it. And then getting done. And I love it, because even with the World Legacy, Dylan is a great COO, where I'm an ideas guy, but I lack on the executing side of things. And then there's other people that are like super executed. They just get shit done, but they might not be full of ideas and stuff. So like if you combine that, you got a guy full of all the great ideas and direction, and then you have a guy that's doing the things, and then that's how you like get there.
Do you feel like you could build people into being the right person? Or is it worth the time?
That's a good question too. I think if you cater to their strengths they currently have, then you're best off. So all people can like learn new skills, but ideally you would put someone who like you already have a good sense of marketing and understanding human psychology and different stuff like that. So it would make sense for you to have a marketing role. But let's say you were not organized at all and you suck at numbers and you don't like tracking different things and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, we need a finance guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this, like technically you could become more organized, more whatever, but if you're naturally.
If I didn't start finance.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I seen a video and it was saying about if you take a person and you ask them almost like their passion, what would you, if all you had to do was this thing kind of like every day, how like happy would you be? And they'd be like, oh, I'd love it if all I had to do was just like this. And it might be like filming videos.
Yeah.
Because maybe at some point you might have to film videos, but then you also have to post and do social media, but then you also have to do like packing your money and you also have to do website stuff. And so you're doing like 15 different things. And if you just say, hey, if all you had to do was one of those 15 things, what would the one thing be to make you really happy? And then you'll find that people may say, if all I had to do was the website stuff, I love doing the website stuff.
Yeah.
If you just let me do the website stuff, I'll be such a happy person. So it's like, okay, let's try to set it up to where all this person has to do is the website stuff. Let's try to take all this other stuff off his plate. Now he's going to be happier. He's going to, So that's what I try to do. It's just a lot of times in business, there might not be enough website stuff to keep the guy busy.
Yeah.
10 hours a week, 20 hours, 30, 40 hours a week. So it's like, okay, most of the time you're going to do the website stuff, but then you'll also have to do these few things too. For now. And eventually we're going to grow it and grow it and grow it. And it'll be so big that eventually the thing you love doing is all you'll have to do. Yeah.
Got one more. What about, so in a sense, you answered the question, but I was saying more about like attributes. Like how have you found the correct people to work with? And then have you ever found someone that you thought was the correct person to work with, but it wasn't? In the sense of ambition, drive, in the sense of the will to want to do something or want to work. Because I feel like just even the people you grow up with, I feel like I've grown up with a lot of people who, we say like, oh, we're going to do this, and we've never done it. And, not saying necessarily like one person is better than the other, but everyone has their own life and they go their separate ways. And, I did this, they do that. And then it's like, man, like we really could have did it. But nobody had the drive to do so. So how do you find those people? And how do you handle those people as well? If you have somebody like that in your group?
I think just talking to them, not because what I learned was from situations where it didn't work out, it was just not clear communication in the beginning. And so if I were to talk to someone today that I think might be a part of something, it would be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And if it's like completely over here and it doesn't align with what I have going on, then I wouldn't even waste your time. But if you see, so with the studio and the guys at the studio, it was, where do you see yourself 5 years? And it was hopefully still, I love being in the studio. Obviously making a lot more money than I'm making now, but like still producing, still doing. So it's like, okay, I see where you want to go. And here's what I need you for is this. They align right here.
Yeah.
So it's like getting them to see that what they want aligns with what you want. And so it's that whole like, you help me, I help you. Yeah. Like this opportunity aligns with where you want to go, and it actually help you get there faster. But I didn't do that in the past with certain people. It's more so kind of, this is my vision. And then they may just be like, I want to make $20 an hour.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
But my goal is I want to own a zoo.
Yeah.
But I'm hiring them to like work at a recording studio.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of the guys that I hired at the studio, all this motherfucker, all he talked about was like the studio that he wanted to open one day. So he didn't realize, you know, in order to get what you want, help other people get what they want. Because I would talk to them about too, like, obviously I know one day you all may want to have your own studio. So learn from me. This is my studio.
Yeah.
Get the experience, the hands-on experience.
Literally the blueprint.
Yeah. Figure out the blueprint from me. And hopefully you see that this brand builds so much that you don't want to start from scratch with your own brand. You may want to like have another branch, like a second location of Crack House Studios would be my goal. And so I always looked at it as, if they don't want to stick around or they want to start their own thing, then I didn't do a good enough job with my thing. Because ideally, if I'm doing a good enough job with keeping them so booked and making this the coolest fucking studio to work at, they wouldn't even have the thought of wanting to start their own and be like, why would I even want to? Kind of like Lyrical Lemonade is such a strong presence. And let's say someone is a DP for Lyrical Lemonade. Like, bro, just ride out that opportunity. Lyrical Lemonade is a huge company. Yeah. It's like the coolest place to work for in that realm. Yeah, it should be so cool that why would you even want to start your own thing?
Did he ever open up a studio?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So a lot of this is young.
Yeah. I think for me too. See, because even like for the outer space stuff, like I feel like I play my role in the outer space thing, but then also I make sure. So for me, I just always felt like it's better to have some like a leg to stand on. Yeah. So maybe, I feel like no matter what I'm doing, I'm always gonna have my separate thing just in case to fall back. Yeah. And I feel like as I got older, I kind of realized that too, of knowing where you're at in life, and then also knowing to just have your own, foundation.
Yeah, and then also like for me, I know for a fact I love the concept of a production studio and having these different sets. Yeah. And the goal is to, I always think long term. So it's 5-10 years from now, I hope to have ownership in 5 or 10 different locations. Yeah. So I'm not super picky or like I don't give that much fucks about this. This is the first location of many to come. Yeah. So yeah, like partner with the first one, get that to where it goes, and maybe I partner with someone else on a second one. Yeah. And maybe me and that person, we partner on a third one. And then maybe on the fourth one, I do that one by myself because I realized different things, you know? So
it's just all about growth and understanding where you're at and a part of the growing tree.
Yeah, and knowing where you're going too. Yeah. I think that kind of comes with the roles is, I think a CEO is more of this is where we're going and this is how we're going to get there. And the COO is I trust you, I believe in you, and I'm going to just keep, like, you tell me what I need to do to help us get there. Yeah. I believe. And so that takes, CEO is definitely like head coach leader. Get people to believe in the mission, where we're going and how we're going to do it. So yeah, roles, teams,
leadership. I feel like the biggest takeaway from that is don't give anyone a role you think they might be good at rather than they got to want that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where ideally, let's say you have a business idea and you present this whole like, this is the business, here's the org chart, here's the different positions. Do you give a fuck or interested in any of these positions? And then it allows them to be like, this one sounds sexy to me. Yeah. I like this one. It's like, oh shit, I thought that I was gonna offer you this one. Yeah. Okay, this one, yeah. And so you talk about that. But most of the time people don't have that. Like I've never, up until now, I've never drawn that out. Like, Crack House Studios, we have this and this and this and this, and here's the different roles. These are the different positions. Here's how these people would be paid. These are the 3 things they're responsible for. Now, do you see the team, and then it gives people a chance to say what they want to do or what they wouldn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I think I'm there now. So now that's what I'm gonna do with the production.
Pre-planned, pre-organized.
Yeah. It's like, yo, before we sign anything, because right now it's more so like a
handshake.
Yeah,
agreement.
I need help. Let's team up. Boom. Yeah, we're all partners. Sweet. General idea of CEO, COO, CMO. But I want to get specific on, okay, before we do it, these are the things that you're responsible for. So now we know if someone's doing a good job or a bad job. Where if you don't do that, then it's just a lot of assumption. Yeah. It's just like I could maybe assume, yo, why is Martin not doing this? Yeah. Man? But you might be like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Yeah. So no, let's be very clear. You doing a good job means this. Yeah. You doing a bad job.
Roles. Yeah. Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
I wonder how. Always hard.
I can't see.
The next thing that I learned that I'm gonna do, even like with this podcast, is I realized you can do a lot of different things, but you have to get that momentum with the new shiny object. Yeah. Until it's going. Yeah. So I think this is a learning experience. Where me and you messed up with this podcast so far is editing. We both didn't commit to the momentum. Yeah. So it's more so like, because eventually we can get to where we're doing how we've been doing it. Where it's just, we just link up and film. Yeah. Right. But up front, it's just when you're starting something new, you gotta commit to. It might be a week, it might be 3 months, it might be a year, whatever it is. But I have this new thing that I want to do, and I'm aware that by me committing to do this new thing, I actually have to commit to whether it's like with this podcast, it's what's the checklist of like the things that we have to get done right now. And it might be, bro, we need a logo, we need to make the social medias, we need to blah, blah, blah. And let's get the first 5 episodes edited and scheduled out. Then we'll kind of sit back in more cruise mode or whatever. But up front, it's going to be, and it's understanding that it's not a permanent thing. It's not like a permanent commitment of like 20 hours a week. It's like, okay, well then that don't fly.
Oh, no, see.
That don't work out.
That was a Hollywood fly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's understanding that in the beginning, it's going to require extra, right? But this isn't forever. And so that's where I'm at now. It's like, okay, I got a month before this recording studio rent goes up. I'm locked in on, I got to take on the role of COO of the recording studio. What things need to get, like, bro, I've known for 6 weeks, I need to film new ads, edit and launch the new ads. I need to add different services to the website. But I was in CEO mode and shooting videos and managing the artists and that type of stuff. So it's like, no, you have to
position yourself.
Yeah. And hey, man, it's not going to be forever. Yeah. It's just for now, up front, it's going to require a lot of your time. Boom, boom, boom. Now it's up and going. Now there's more money coming in. And now you can say, hey, let's take some of this money. And right now I have 100% of it. I'm going to give up 20, 30%, bring someone on, or someone that's already on, hand that over to them and say, here's what we need right now is that we need someone to do this. This is the things that they're going to be responsible for. And in exchange, they get this much percentage. So that's where I'm at now.
No, yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to recognize, for sure.
Takes some self-awareness, man.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Self-awareness, teamwork, leadership.
I think this is a good one. Yeah. That's what's cool about doing these is, it happened yesterday at the video, is sometimes in the beginning, you might not even know, like when we didn't talk at all about, what are we going to talk about on the podcast today? We never addressed that. We literally just linked up, sat down, hit record, and it was, I mean, you guys heard it. Dude, what you been up to? What's up with this, that? I think we should talk about this today. Yeah. But that came from just starting and getting the juices going. So like yesterday, I did a music video and went into it completely. It was lower budget, obviously. Like it's a higher budget. I'm gonna not show up like that, but it was cool. Like with the artist, I know his vibe. His vibe aligns with more of like run and gun. Like I'm cool with whatever. It's a lower budget, and yeah, I had a general idea of we'll just do a few things like this, a scene like this, whatever. Throw it together. It's gonna be this. He's like, I'm cool with it. But when I got there, I didn't have specific what we gonna in the corner on the couch, the chair.
Location.
What are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? Tripod, gimbal, handheld. What lens am I gonna use? And it wasn't until like the third take, and it was more so I was trying to get my shadow out of the light, and I moved back, and then I was like, I could get, and then it clicked, and it was like, yo, sit down, hear the light. Oh shit! And then I said, look, we just did the best shot, and this came from just starting.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I think the advice from that would be just start. Just get started. Yeah. And then you're gonna see things start coming together and aligning. And then the verses, if you're afraid to start because you want to have it all figured out, I promise you, 90% of the time, you're gonna sit there forever trying to figure it out, and years go by, and then whatever the opportunity was is now gone. I've seen that happen to me.
Me too.
Yeah.
It still happens to me.
Yeah. It still happens. Yeah. Right now, I have a specific course that I wanted to do, and then this other guy came out with a course for free, and it was better than the one that I was even going to sell. So I was like, bro, I had this idea 3 years ago. Yeah. I could have just did it 3 years ago, and I would have been able to capitalize on it for at least 3 years until he came along and then might have put it out. So.
Yeah, it's like me. I had all this stuff, these ideas I want to do, even like music and stuff I've been working on. And it's like, I need to finish that. And then you break your computer and then you realize like, shit, I should have finished that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can bounce back from the computer.
No, for sure. For sure.
All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you're notified for future episodes. If you're listening to this on a streaming platform like Spotify, please do us a favor and leave it a rating. Screenshot it, tag us on Instagram. Let us know that you're tuned in on Instagram. I'm Cracka_lack.
And I'm Desko Martin.
Shout out to all the sharks out there. Something in the Water
shout out
podcast.
to the sharks. Have a good day.